Yes. How you doing there today, DJ Notorious?
What's going on there, Chris B? Welcome everyone to the 2014-2015 NBA Preview Show. Of course, I am DJ Notorious, repping that Malika magazine, and my co-host for today will be Chris B. Tell him about you, man.
Oh man, I'm here in Atlanta, just relaxing and chilling today. I'm getting ready to looking forward to kick off this NBA season this year. Seeing
All
how
right.
teams on the road.
All right. So yeah, you actually told that you're from Atlanta, correct?
That's correct. Well, I'm really from Detroit, as you can see from the back hanging behind me there. You got to go to bit a little bit.
Yeah, Detroit Tigers back there, man.
Yeah, I get them Pistons back up when they start make me feel better at home.
Well, we'll talk about those Pistons a little bit later.
Yes, we will.
All right. So just to let everybody know, anyone that's actually viewing the show right now, if you have any questions regarding anything we're talking about, please feel free to hold those questions towards the end. We actually have a special section for everyone to voice their questions for either myself, DJ Notorious, or Chris B. So write them down, take a picture of it, remember it, and we'll take it from there at the end of the show. But let's get actually started with last night's scores, Chris. I see there's a few preseason games going on in the NBA last night.
Yeah, we had a few of them. Some of them surprising with the losses, some of them not. Charlotte and Washington last night with the 96. Washington won 96-86. Detroit lost to Orlando 87-99. Dallas actually beat Cleveland last night, which was kind of shocking, 108-102. Florida and Memphis played last night.
All right.
Back up.
That was Memphis Grizzlies, correct?
Yeah, they blew them out by 40 points. That was just I think it was a play game last night. Let all the rookies play.
Probably, in the preseason, guys, if you don't know, most of the preseason games you will see not your regular, I'll say, top 10 players on the team that will be starting during the season. You'll pretty much see the ones that are going to probably go to the D League.
Yeah, you probably see those guys, especially now since we're getting real close to season starting and trying to figure out, get the roster set about right now.
Exactly. You'll see a lot of players who you normally wouldn't see playing in an actual NBA game during the season actually getting more minutes, so the coaching staff can actually take a look at them and see if they could actually have a spot for them or in their D-League affiliate.
Right.
All right, but thanks for that update, man. Let's get right into it. We're going to call this segment of the show, Where Are They Now? As some of y'all probably already know, there was a lot of movement in free agency this year. There's so much to keep with. It sounded like a soap opera. It was like General Hospital, All My Children, and the rest of them. So, but let's just talk about the first one that everybody should know now, unless you was under a rock for the past 3 months. LeBron went down.
Right. Well, and Kevin Love, too. You got to get both of those guys because they both made a big move for both of their teams and see how, things are going to change for both of those teams, Miami and the Timberwolves.
Well, yeah, definitely. Since there's actually 3 teams involved with this, let's just start with the main one, Cleveland. Now, since they have LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love forming the new big 3 for this season,
Right.
Chris, what do you think will be the move for them? Do you think this actually makes them the automatic end-all to be-all contender in the East, or do you?
No, I think they're still going to contend with Miami a little bit. I guess it's going to be a little bit of a rivalry there with both of those teams, and we'll see how things kick off when they play each other in the first game this season. We'll see how the rest of the year is going to go from there.
Well, yeah, I do know that Cleveland did actually play Miami a few nights ago.
Yeah, but that was preseason with the rookies in there and D-League players they brought up to see, they got to fill some voids and some holes. Losing LeBron, you got at least 2 players for him to try to make that difference up.
Yeah, because actually when they played that a couple of nights ago, you actually had LeBron James giving a pick for Norris Cole.
Yeah, so, you figure that out.
Cleveland just yet.
Yeah, so it's gonna all work out. I mean, he's lost a lot of weight too in the off season here. So LeBron's a lot smaller, a lot thinner. He should be a lot faster this year.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll see what happens.
That is very true. With that lineup, it seems like I could be wrong, so just correct me on this. Cleveland's lineup this year, fans, looks to be Kyrie Irving at point, Dion Waiters still at the shooting guard spot. LeBron going away from playing the 4, and now we'll be back to the original 3 that he started with in the league.
Well, that's true, yeah. Yeah, I think that's like where he's going to be this year. Especially,
Right.
I think that's the reason why he lost all that weight, so he can get out there and play and run a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I see him and also Carmelo Anthony of the Knicks did the same thing this off season, but we'll get into the New York teams a little bit later in my rant later on. But what do you think about the bench now for Cleveland? I know Ray Allen is still probably out there as maybe signing before the season starts, but who else do you think can work on that bench for Cleveland this year?
Well, it's kind of hard to say with those guys. I'm gonna have to pull those guys up, actually see who's even going to be on the bench once they finally decide who their 12, 15 guys are going to be on the roster.
That is true. I do know. I believe Anderson Varejao will be the starting center for Cleveland, and main backup will be Tristan Thompson.
Okay.
But now Tristan Thompson, actually, he's the kind of odd man out. Before the Love deal was made, he was actually supposed to be the starting power forward.
That's right, he was.
So, but now with Kevin Love, of course, he does have that little neck stinger that he actually received in that last game. But from what I hear, he's actually going to be set and cleared and ready to start the season against my beloved Knicks on the 30th.
Oh. Let me.
So that's definitely going to be a big thing for them. Now, you actually said you think that Miami is still going to be a contender for Cleveland in the East, even with this new big.
Well, they only lost one. I mean, they really only lost LeBron. I mean, they can make up 27, 30 points with two players.
That's pretty much what they did by signing Roberts.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to pull those. I mean, true enough. Yeah, he draws two defenders at times when he has the ball. Sometimes three. I mean, so he opens up holes for other players, for Wade, for Bosh and the guys. But watching those guys play the other night, you still got other threats on that team where they're going to draw 2 and 3 players. I mean, Wade's still going to draw 2 guys at times. You're going to get when Bosh has the ball, he's going to sometimes, at least get a player and a half on him, somebody to step out and away from the basket when he has the ball. So that's still going to be a threat. I mean, they just got to get someone to penetrate and drive, and we'll have to see how that plans out when they finally make these final selections here.
Well, I do know with Miami, with LeBron moving on, you're actually going to see more of what I call the original Chris Bosh from his days in Toronto.
Yeah.
In the offense. And we also have to know if Dwayne Wade's knees are actually going to hold up now. He just got married. So know how that works. Usually when a person gets married, they're really not too into it those first couple of months into the season. So.
Well, I think he was already pre-married. He was just trying to get everything else settled out the last 2 seasons. He and Gabrielle have been together for a while now. So I think that was a marriage in itself. I think the ceremony just made it official for them too. So, and the knee is a big thing for him. We'll have to see how that pans out here after about 20, 25 games.
All right. Well, let's move on to the second actual biggest move. I mean, some people wouldn't think it's actually moved. They'll have to actually look into their newspaper or play NBA 2K15. But Chandler Parsons.
Chandler Parsons.
Yes, Chandler Parsons was a part of that nucleus there in Houston with James Harden and Dwight Howard.
Oh, yeah.
This move was if some people think about it, LeBron's fault.
Yeah.
Actually taking so long to make his decision or make the decision for everyone else to know. He probably knew weeks before. That actually held up Chris Bosh for his impending free agency. Now, it looked like for a while that he was going to wind up with Houston to join up with Harden and Dwight Howard. But with that taking so long and the Dallas Mavericks swooping in the 9th hour and signing Parsons to that offer sheet, which was huge.
Yeah. I mean, he got a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, a nice chunk of change for him. Well, he's actually been getting better each year as he's been into the league, and now actually becomes a secondary scorer for the Dallas Mavericks. What do you think about that and bad blood that seems to be between Harden and Parsons out there for the upcoming season?
Well, I think they had a little score to sell while they were playing together. They just couldn't put it out there. But I think this year we're gonna really see how bad the blood was between those two when they played each other this season.
Yeah, I know they're in the division together. They're going to play each other 4 times, guaranteed.
That's right. And so that first game they play together, we'll really see what's going on. We'll see who hits the floor the most often, Harden or Parsons, and if they have a little scrap or two.
Oh,
We'll
I
see.
definitely see that happening. I mean, I
What
love James
security
Harden.
this year.
I love James Harden, great offensive player, but the defense is lacking, to say the least.
He's never had any defense. You got to remember he came off the bench, before, and he was a scorer. I mean, that's all he did was score.
So,
Defense? No defense. He's not a defensive player.
especially not that other person that plays with him at center. He's spotty at best.
Yeah. Well, what's it? I mean, also the other move that people, you're missing is Tyson Chandler. They brought him back to Dallas.
Okay, well, that does involve my favorite team, which is the New York Knicks. Hence the
It does. If you want to talk about, one of those shadow moves that people didn't really hear about, they got him back.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, a move that actually helps both teams. As if people already know, Tyson Chandler came from the Dallas Mavericks over to the Knicks right after the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA title. But due to, I think, wearing out his welcome in New York, along with
Well, I don't think he never wanted to be there. He never wanted to go to New York. He didn't want to go back to Dallas. I was looking at him last night, and his quote was, "It was like he woke up Christmas Day when he got the call he was coming back to Dallas."
wow, well,
Waking up on Christmas Day, getting that call, I was like, "What? Oh, really?" So,
yeah, that was mostly due to his, I guess, ending with New York, with the playoffs, how that wound down and everything like that. But
yeah,
in all actuality, I think Tyson Chandler actually gave up on the Knicks before the season was even over. He's used to a certain structure that was going on with that team, and with the coach Mike Woodson, who we'll probably talk about a little bit later since he joined up with another NBA franchise. The team just wasn't listening to Mike Woodson anymore. And everybody has to remember that is Melo's team. Well, first it's James Dolan's team. He's the owner of the Knicks. But Carmelo Anthony controls.
Carlo is a money man. He's a franchise.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why he's one of the people that did not move in NBA free agency.
Exactly.
They take his little whirlwind tour around everywhere, but he decided to stay where he was at in New York. But back to Chandler. Chandler, as people already know, was packaged with that horrible, and I do mean horrible, should not ever be a starting point guard ever in life again, Raymond Felton. Okay, I think I speak for a lot of New Yorkers, because I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, that we were happy to see Raymond Felton go.
Oh, yeah. And free up some salary cap money.
Oh, and then some. I mean, if anybody would have took him for even 4 chicken wings and shrimp fried rice, I think they would have did it.
Yeah, exactly. Please take him. Just take him. Get rid of him. We don't want him anymore.
I think
Too funny.
I saw it on a lot of different posts and blogs and stuff like that Raymond Felton was actually ranked the worst starting point guard last season in the NBA.
Yeah.
The worst starting point guard in the NBA. Remember, we had Milwaukee, who wasn't that great last year. We had Orlando, who wasn't that great. But New York Raymond got caught with a gun. Felton.
Yeah, Felton, yeah.
Is the worst point guard. I just felt like he just really didn't want to be there. He had his off-the-court issues that I just mentioned. And
I think some of his off-the-court stuff was probably so he can get benched so he didn't have to play.
yeah, that actually worked out too. But, I mean, for a person like that, he's not a rookie. He's been in the league quite a few years. He should know better when it comes to the off-the-field stuff. But he took care of it. He actually is only going to do, I think, probation, if I do remember correctly. So he won't be seeing no jail time.
Well, that's a good thing for him. But, yeah, it's kind of crazy. He came carrying guns in New York without a permit.
Of course, just ask Plaxico Burress and the rest of them. So.
Yeah, he shot himself, knucklehead. But that's another football story for a different day.
Another story for a whole day, man. All right. Do you think of any other notables that big moves that were made? I know I mentioned Carmelo Anthony. They did it.
Yes. Well, you guys all, Wayne Ellington left from the Knicks and went to Dallas too.
Oh yes, it was actually
that trade. They both went to Dallas. Him and Tyson went to Dallas after that. Shane Larkin is gone too.
Yeah, Shane Larkin's now in the Knicks. That's correct.
hmm Yeah, so they had that three-way trade. Well, you guys got Calderon too, didn't you?
Yes, Jose Calderon now, new
Okay.
point guard. So far, so good this preseason. Let's see how it works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's just. I mean, he's gonna have to get in there and fit in and see. Get used to the players and how the guys playing. I think once the season gets started, that Jose will come around. He'll start getting the ball to the right people and learn how to play with the guys.
Yes, definitely. So now there was I guess you could quote a rumor for the past 24 to 48 hours of possibly, and I think this was started by Bill Simmons of ESPN, the suit and tie company.
Oh yeah, the ones that made my boy Kobe number 40 on the list this year.
Well, I'm actually kind of happy about that, but we'll talk about
Oh
that.
come on, man, can't be happy. Kobe ain't that bad.
Talk about those Lakers a little bit later. But Bill Simmons actually brought this up as a possible deal between Boston and New York regarding often talked about Rajon Rondo. What would you?
Rondo's not going anywhere, man. He just got that big contract. Rondo's not going anywhere. I don't foresee that happening. He just got that big contract. Um, Highest paid player on the team, one of the higher paid players in the NBA this year. And Rondo's not going anywhere. They lose Rondo, boy. Boston might as well go home and pack their bags.
Yeah, because the rumor deal, I mean, it's for the past couple of years, it's always been known that Melo will want Rondo on the team, and, they actually have some type of a threesome going on there between him, Melo, and probably J.R. Smith.
Yeah, I was looking at Rondo last night too. Reading up on him. Yeah, I didn't realize he had that big gigantic contract he signed with Boston. But that's the other thing. Who did Boston bring in? I'm thinking of the guard they brought over to. Talking about guards, Marcus Smart.
Yes, Marcus Smart, as some of y'all already know if you follow college basketball, he had that little incident in the Oklahoma State game when they played, I think, at Texas A&M, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
Texas A&M, but I think that was more, frustration and fans. 19-year-old kid, man, come on, you can't get in that 19-year-old kid's face like that.
Exactly. I think sometimes fans forget that they are fans.
That's right.
There's a certain line you don't cross with whether it's a college basketball player or an NBA professional player. And we've already seen in prior incidents in the past 15 years of what will happen if you get into an NBA player's face. Hello, Ron Artest.
Yeah, Ron Artest. Yeah, him and a few others, matter of fact, but Ron Artest, he took the brunt of that because of the way it started. I mean, he should have just stayed laying on that table. Everything would have been all right.
Yeah, but then, too, I have to put some blame onto the fans because they was throwing that $12 beer.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as he was there on the table, everything was cool. It was when the beer hit him that he got ticked off and he ran up in the stands and beat up the fan. I mean, that's assault on the fan as it was. I mean, I'm surprised that fan didn't get arrested for assaulting him for throwing the beer at him.
Exactly, because all that wouldn't have started if the beer was not thrown. And I mean,
it would have just been him laying on the table, getting that foul, the technical foul, and the game would have moved on.
Exactly. But my main thing is who's actually going to throw $12 beer away?
Somebody with money.
Because I'm sorry, if I buy a $12 beer, I'm keeping it.
You gotta realize when that guy was sitting, that $12 beer didn't matter, bro.
Yeah, you know what?
He rolls up, that $12 beer didn't matter. He probably getting that comped anyway.
Exactly. Definitely. All right, well, let's move on. Actually, when we have the players actually moving, not just them during the free agency period, you also have the coaching carousel moves.
Oh, bro, yeah, the coaches. I mean, that was yeah. But the one that really shocked me was the firing Mark Jackson after the end of the season with the Golden State Warriors. I really thought, what he did with those guys for the 3 seasons and getting those guys to the divisional championships, man, and then cut the guy. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But you know what? We'll see where the Warriors end up this year after losing him, because they're not looking that good this year. Even in the preseason, they're not looking good. I think that's going to hurt the players. Not only is it going to hurt the franchise, but the loyalty the players had to Mark Jackson is going to show. And I'm not sure how soon they're going to recover from that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, it's actually the Mark Jackson, the guy who actually took over from Steve Kerr, and Derek Fisher are all tied into each other. Mark Jackson, as you said, was already let go from the Golden State Warriors, which really teed off certain players, most notably Stephen Curry. Then Steve Kerr, who was actually supposed to be the next coach of the New York Knicks.
Yes.
But according to sources that I have, a certain broadcaster who used to work for Madison Square Garden, I will not say his name, you should be able to pick up on it, actually told him that was not the spot for him to go.
Well, you got to think, I mean, you would think that the general manager, the new general manager, would have a little bit more clout with Steve Kerr, considering he coached him for all those years, Mr. Phil Jackson.
Yeah, actually, you know, that was one of the moves that was done before the season was over. Phil Jackson actually becoming the head man there at the Knicks. James Dolan, finally. Thank you, James Dolan, for finally, like, seriously, if you've seen this video, James Dolan, thank you for letting Phil do his job. Thank you. We only asked.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Phil Jackson has little clauses in that contract that he's going to be able to get the players he wants and run that team the way he wants, and then get the people in place that he needs to be in place for those guys to get back into the championship run. Phil Jackson is not coming out of retirement, man, to take that position, to sit back and let his reputation get tarnished because he can't do his job. That wasn't going to happen.
Definitely not. And actually, you know, with Steve Kerr actually moving on to the Golden State Warriors, and Mark Jackson now working for ESPN ABC when they start their games Christmas Day, I think. The best deal actually for it was Derek Fisher becoming the Knicks head coach. You know, Phil and Derek have had their years with the Lakers winning all those championships, you know, even playing with that guy named Kobe Bryant. But that's here nor there. It's actually working because, you know, Derek Fisher actually wanted to be a coach for a while. You already saw he was pretty much a player coach while playing for the Thunder last season. So now he gets to, you know, install that triangle offense and hopefully get these Knicks players to actually get somewhere further than the second round of the playoffs.
That's true. Yeah, get them. Yeah, they got to do something, man. I mean, because you can almost ask yourself nowadays, who are the Knicks? Unfortunately, I mean, they used to be a powerhouse in the late '80s, early '90s. You know, even to the late '90s. But now they're just falling off, man. Paying these players all this money for no productivity. And I think it's just hurts the city as a whole when you got to around the Brooklyn Nets to you know, look across the river and say, okay, well, that's our team we got to root for now. How far are they going to go? Well, they're doing better than the Knicks, so, hey, we got to root for somebody.
That's right. Well, I mean, since you brought up that team.
The team, the other team over there.
Yeah, the other team over there. Now, you know, I know fans, anyone watching this, please let it be known, I do know that they are the Brooklyn Nets. But me, being born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, though I will still call them the New Jersey Nets until I leave this earth. I'm sorry. It's just, that's nothing Brooklyn to me. I'm seeing people wearing all these Brooklyn hats and everything, and I'm just like, no. There's only one New York team in my eye, and that's still the Knicks.
Yeah. You know, they had to get into a better market. I mean, New Jersey who? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those last couple of years when they was at the Meadowlands. Oh, man, just 2,000 to 3,000 people just there for a game.
Were the stands even filled? I mean, the people bought bleacher seats and then moved down to make like people were actually at the games toward the end.
To be honest with you, I actually had a couple of friends that actually went to some games back then, and they were actually told to move down so that TV they can actually make it look like it was a sellout, and then just blacking the upper sections of the metal.
Right, they turned almost dim the lights or turn the lights out, so like people were up there, but there weren't anyone up there. No one was there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how bad it had gotten. Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't understand, like, you know, with that whole issue, like, why people just would not come out. They would come out for the other New Jersey team, the New Jersey Devils of the NHL.
Well,
they moved already at that point, but they would come out for them, but not for the Nets. And
you gotta, if you're winning and you make the playoffs, your fans come to see you. You know, if you're losing, what's the use of wasting my money? I can watch them lose on TV.
That is so true. And since you actually mentioned those, I'll say it, Brooklyn Nets, that I can actually speak about because they're actually also a part of this coaching carousel. And I just have to say this for a minute. I might go into a little 60-second rant here, but
okay.
kid, Okay, he was the coach of the Brooklyn Nets last season, and then in one of the, I have to just say it, shadiest moves I've ever seen in the NBA, basically weaseled his way out of working for Brooklyn since he knew they weren't going anywhere this year. I said it, they're not going anywhere this year.
They're not. I agree with you.
He actually weaseled his way into a deal to go join the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, what do you
How
think?
do you do that toward the end of the season, just before the playoffs? How much clout do you have to make that magical mystery happen?
I was just in shock. Like, why you talk so much about loving to, come in Brooklyn and actually starting here with the franchise, new fresh start for everyone. He's basically been their number one player in franchise history, taking them to those finals and getting their butt handed to them by the Lakers.
True.
But he's been their best player. But for you to just totally disrespect the team like that, who's actually looked out for you all these years, I just thought it was a weasel move. Just in my opinion.
You gotta think. I think if you don't want to say his name, Jason Kidd, he did what he had to do best for him, man. He got a pay raise, got a better position. He'll be able to run the team now.
That is actually
he wants to run the team.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's now has the Milwaukee Bucks and has one of the rookies actually, who we'll get into just a little bit here. But we all know that team is destined for a top 5 lottery pick at the very least. They're not going anywhere as well. He actually downgraded instead of staying with the team in Brooklyn, with Prokhorov, and Prokhorov has money.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing with that whole situation was getting with a young team, building it up, and getting the Milwaukee Bucks back into the playoffs. And then having your name associated with that maybe in the next 3 or 4 years. That hey, yeah, you went here, you did this, and this is what we got going. Well, we'll have to see. We'll see what they end up doing this season, and then next. Their draft picks. Yeah, you want to be in the bottom and get some of the best draft picks. Why not be in the lottery, top 5?
That's pretty true, and it seems like what they're going to do for the next couple of years.
Yeah, so they're not going to lose anything. They think they have everything to gain and nothing to lose at this point. I mean, you're already at the bottom. You can't go any lower, so you might as well start building the foundation.
That is true. Now, with the last coaching move that I saw that was actually of any big difference here, I mean, you had the moves in Orlando and other spots, but this one was actually surprising to me. And again, it involves the New York Knicks. Their last coach, everybody remembers Mike Woodson. Now, after the horrible way that the season ended for the Knicks, which a lot of people say that it was his fault, and yes, I'll say it, it was his fault. He joined up with and became the assistant coach for the Los Angeles Clippers. What do you think of that move?
Well, I think Woodson will get those guys back on the defensive side of the ball. They already had offense. They need somebody to come in there and get those guys to play better defense. That's the only reason they lost in the playoffs. They were relying on too much on their offense. The offense can only carry. You can't let another team score 120. You score 119. Why are they even in triple digits? Because you don't have any defense. You guys can't be going to double overtimes or triple overtimes, 130, 140, 150 points in a game. That's no defense, man. That's everybody run and shoot. You might be at the local gym playing ball all day.
That is true. I do understand that the Clippers do need that defensive push, which they have been getting from Doc Rivers since he joined the team. But right. if your quote-unquote press release for that is, we brought Woodson in to be, a help on defense, did anybody see last season when he coached the Knicks?
Well, you gotta who your defensive players really on the Knicks? Everybody in the damn Knicks want to shoot.
Well, that is true, but remember, it was Tyson Chandler.
Well, Tyson Chandler, okay, that's one player out of 5, and he can't play the whole. He can't be in every place in the key at once.
Granted, yes, he was just a center, and I think he was actually starting to get up in age now. Dallas is probably going to figure that out this season. But for a coach that you heard, I mean, if you're in the New York market, you already knew, but in the NBA circles, the coach is talking and everything. You knew the situation going on with Mike Woodson there, especially with no defense. Why would you hire him as assistant coach and make it for that you need him for defense?
Well, I mean, I think that's the only thing the Clippers are lacking. The only thing they're lacking is somebody with a defensive presence and somebody with a defensive mindset as a coach. I mean, Doc's there, but Doc's the coach. Doc can't coach defense and offense. That's why you got defensive coaches and offensive coaches. That's why you got assistant coaches. That's what they're there for. He needs to make sure that everybody's working together and they got a plan and everything's going to work. But Doc ain't trying to do everything. I know he's not. He's trying to get that team back to the playoffs, hopefully, to the championship. They're not paying him all that money either. He's going to have to earn that paycheck this season. I'll tell you that. If they don't make the playoffs this season, Doc might get on the chopping blocks.
Yeah, I'm just actually glad this season that we are actually going to just get to basketball when we talk about the Los Angeles Clippers and not that other situation with that person who is just an idiot. I will not mention his name.
His name won't come up on this screen with me either. I'm glad Mr. Ballmer bought the team and everything is rolling. And I personally think he overpaid for it, but I think in the long run he'll make his money back.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They have the stars, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, who's actually turned into more of a complete player. Besides center highlight. Oh, wait, I made a plug for ESPN. I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean? Griffin's always been a good player, but he needed to calm down. He needed to focus more on the court. He needed more discipline. I think he finally got that this past season. He understands when he's not out there just free floating and running around with a chicken with his head off and taking wild shots. When he actually focuses and plays like he's supposed to play, and he can still have his moments in the game where he gets up and jumps over folks. But at the same time, he's stepped out now, and he actually has a perimeter shot. So it makes things a whole lot easier for those guys because now the man guarding him has to come out and defend him. It's not anymore, well, we know he's not going to hit that shot. Let's run down to the other end of the court, get the rebound, we run this break. Now it's like we got to get out there and get on because he might hit that 15 or 18-foot jump shot. Exactly, and that's why I've been saying for years that he actually needs to just add a 15 to 18-foot jump shot to bring his defender out a little bit more, and in his quickness he could take a shot or just easily just take it to the rim as normal and be the
go by some of the best players in the league with his speed.
Yeah, literally. He's a 2010 man every night, guaranteed. So hopefully the Clippers will actually work out for them.
And he'll have a few steals every once in a while. Blocks, and he blocks shots. I mean, he's good. He's a good overall player once he has his head on his head properly.
Yeah, because it actually does help having Mr. DeAndre Jordan back there also for some defensive help.
That's right.
Exactly. Hopefully for them it'll actually work out. But let's actually talk. We talked about more of the players that have actually been in the league already, the free agency moves that happened. Yeah, LeBron moved to Cleveland. We get the point. But let's talk about the rookies.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the rookies.
Yes. Now, NBA draft, I think this past draft was one of the most deepest drafts I've seen in the past 5 years.
Yeah. The reason it went so deep is because you got all these second-year players, man, that's chasing that dollar, getting out of the college, doing their 2 years, and coming into the draft. That's why it was so deep.
Yeah, I don't mind the players. Get your money when you can. You're not breaking any rules. Go on and forego your last 2 years and go into the draft. I know the top 10 pretty much everybody has heard about, but who do you think is like your top 3 rookies to watch for this upcoming NBA season?
Let me see. My top 3. Let me see. What did I do with them? I gotta think about this. My top. Let me get back to my top 3. I'll go to my bust, but I'll get him later.
All right. Well.
I think Zach LaVine from UCLA.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a pretty good guy once he gets out there on the court. He's doing pretty good now. He's with the He went over to the Timberwolves.
Yep, that's right. He was one of their draft picks.
Right, he's one of the guards off the draft pick. I know I didn't. I see why you got to have this stuff on the teleprompter now. I got to get me a better teleprompter person. The guys coming out of Kentucky, Wiggins and what's some other guy came out of Kentucky, man?
Julius Randle.
Yes, and Randall. Um, I think those are going to be the three guys to watch this year, man. Um, uh, because Randall went to Boston, correct?
Randle actually went to your love Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, that's right, he did. That's right.
Randle's with the Lakers. Levine, of course, is with the Timberwolves,
Wolves.
and Wiggins is now Cavaliers, then to the Timberwolves. All in
Right.
one.
Right. He's with. Yeah, that's the swap. What? Oh no, that's why I can't find it. Yeah, Julius Randle, Kentucky. Yeah, that's now I find it because I wrote it on the. Shouldn't have wrote it there. And James Young. James Young is the other guy I'm thinking about, bro.
Okay,
James
yeah.
Young actually went to Boston. But he's hurt right now. We'll have to see what happens with him. That was the my Rondo thing with Rondo. I think that was a big scare. That's why they brought him in. I know he's a young guy, 19, 20 years, going on 20 years old. But they had to bring somebody young in case Rondo got hurt again. A guard that can shoot, and that can play, and that can pass. And I think that's what they're going to get with James Young this season. And that's why they drafted him because, like I said, everything's up in the air with Rondo nowadays. He is getting older. He's had these injuries, fingers, ankles, knees, you name it. Rondo's got it because he's getting old.
Yeah, Rajon Rondo reminds me of that old board game. I don't know if you remember it, Operation.
Operation. Yeah, he's definitely one you're pulling the pieces out of.
Yeah, exactly. It's just every time you turn around, there's something happening to him. But I do see those three players that you talked about. I actually got to go. I'll first get the Homer one out the way. I don't know if he's actually going to see any playing time this year, but I think he was actually one of the steals of the draft.
Who was that?
Pretty early of the New York Knicks.
You think so?
Yeah, Cleanthony Early. I mean, everybody knows if you follow college basketball, he was a part of that Wichita State team that was undefeated for, you might as well say, 3/4 of the season, if not all. Great scorer. Defense needs to be worked on, but for the place that the Knicks got him in the second round, he was projected to be a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, I think, but the lack of defense is what hurt him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can shoot. You have an average of 26, 28 points per game, but what are you doing on defense? Are you just getting the guy, letting them cut to the hole, or are you gonna stick that guy and put him on the floor and take the foul? Are you trying to stay in the game every game? He wasn't the kind of guy who was gonna foul the guy he was guarding. That wasn't happening. He would get off the guy, release, and get down, get his shot, and call it a day. But as a team, Wichita State, hey, as a team they were great. But individual players, you start looking at them, his weakness is his defense.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's probably one of the things that's going to probably curtail him from getting that much playing time in his rookie year until he sees that defense improve. And
exactly.
If I had Eric Fisher, you better make sure you're playing some defense, or you're not going to see no time on the court.
Are you be looking at the court from the bench on the far end down there?
Pretty much. I actually got to say, besides Cleanthony Early, I would probably, it's the number one pick, Andrew Wiggins. Him now actually going away from Cleveland now to Minnesota. I think that's probably the best thing that could actually happen for him. And before the trade, I thought the other rookie who I think is going to have a good year, Jabari Parker from out of Duke, now playing for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, playing for Bucks. Yeah, I think Jabari. Well, he played. He was a good all-around player when he was there, man, in college. So. I think that's part of that rebuilding that we were talking about with Milwaukee. That's going to be part of their rebuilding. They got, you got to start. It's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, with that team he inherits there with Milwaukee, there's no reason why he should not be dropping at least 18 points a game.
At least. Easy. With probably at least 10, maybe 10 to 12 assists a night.
Maybe, yeah, because that team with Milwaukee, just who's really playing? Brandon Knight's the starter. How long is he going to be there? Larry Sanders, there's issues with them. Jabari Parker could automatically become the face of the franchise. And more than likely, I think it'll be a little bit closer for Rookie of the Year, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be between Wiggins and Parker.
Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah, I can actually see this becoming the LeBron versus Carmelo as it was when they actually came into the league.
Yeah, you'll have. Yeah, that's it also depends on these sport networks, man, and who they pick, because it's always about who they pick. But Wiggins, if he holds holds his weight in water this year, he'll definitely be the talk come mid-season before the All-Star break. If they're talking about him by the All-Star break, breaking his name keeps coming up, yeah, he'll be in that hunt for the Rookie of the Year, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, he has the team now. I mean, there's no Kevin Love. Your only other option on there is Kevin Martin. Who, let's just talk about this for a minute. I don't know if you heard about this. Kevin Martin, shooting guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He actually said to the media a few days ago that he didn't even know that Kevin Love was traded. Do you believe?
What bubble he been living in?
Exactly. He said that he doesn't follow social media and all these other different things. That's why he didn't know. But what rock were you under that you did not know this? I mean, I had people at the gas station telling me, "Hey, DJ, you know about Kevin Love?"
I mean, the Kevin Love trade, as soon as the season was over there, talking about Kevin Love, was talking about he wanted some more money. Where was he going?
Exactly. So I don't know about Kevin Martin doing that. Maybe he. I
think he's in denial. I think it's one of those love-hate relationships. He's in denial that that his best buddy in the team left.
Yeah, love.
Can't believe he's still in denial.
Yeah. So I think with Wiggins, he'll probably get around 15 to 18. But what's going to separate him from Jabari Parker? He has that tremendous upside, especially his defensive set.
Right.
He get 2 to 3 steals a game.
Easy.
So, because remember when they actually played Duke, Wiggins actually broke down Jabari Parker quite a few times on those defensive sets. So,
well, we know who was sitting at home and who was playing, don't we?
Exactly. To tell you something right there.
You don't go high in the draft, man, if you don't have defense. I mean, if you look at the top 10, all those guys got defensive skills, offense and defense. Like I said, you can get a guy with good defensive skill and teach him some offense, but you can't. Sometimes you just can't teach some guys defense. They're just not disciplined enough to want to do it.
No, not at all, man. Not at all.
Some players are just lazy. Let's call it what it is. Some of these guys are just lazy.
Yeah, I could quite a few players that were selected in that first round that are bust material, which brings me to this. If you just had to take one player that was drafted, whether in the first round or the second round, or even an undrafted free agent, who do you think will be the absolute bust this season?
Well, my absolute bust, I mean, honestly, with you, we talked about him already. We won't talk about him again, is Marcus Smart.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to live up to the hype he had when he was at OK State. I just don't see it. You got suspended for those few games. True enough, they were on the roll. They could have done something. They lost him. They wanted to say he was the reason they didn't do better in the season. And you can't blame one player for your whole season, You got to be able to pull other guys off the bench and make them step up and earn they due, as they say. But Marcus Smart, I think, is going to be my biggest disappointment this year in the draft. Honestly, I mean, we'll see what happens, bro. I just don't see. I think that attitude he has, as young as he is, unless he gets around the right people, I just don't see it changing anytime soon. I just don't see it. Matter of fact, let me see something. I wrote some stuff up on here.
Right.
I mean, the other night, he's playing pretty good. He's averaging 10, 11 points a game now in the preseason. 2 assists. I don't see him doing any more during the regular season. I don't. He's gonna come off the bench as it is anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I do see with Marcus Smart. He's going to probably get around maybe 10, no more than 20 minutes a game. I think the problem with him is just with Boston, it just doesn't fit. Like, there's no good fit for him. He's like a tweener. He's not really a 1. He's not really a 2. So in that aspect of who they have there already with Rondo and Bradley ahead of him, you're not going to see that much time to actually start developing.
Well, no, I think the biggest thing was pulling him in was, he's a rugged. He's rugged. He'll get in there. He'll fight. He'll battle. He'll take some bumps and bruises, and he'll put some bumps and bruises on other players. But I think the biggest reason he was drafted was Rondo. If he gets hurt, we're going to have to shift one guy to number 1, and we're going to have to bring a number 2 in. You know, so I think that's the biggest reason why they drafted him. And somebody, like I said, somebody's going to beat up other people and it can take a beating himself.
Yeah, because it's actually true. Since I think Bradley's probably going to be the starting two guard this year, because they say he's actually, got a jump shot now, which I still don't see yet, even with the times they're playing against the Knicks in the preseason. Yeah, I rolled my eyes too with that one. But I think when one subs out, Smart will come in, and then the other player would move over to the one. Because I really see Marcus Smart being a two guard in the league. I don't think he needs to have any control of the ball or anything like that, especially in his first couple of years. High turnover rate. So let him be a two, beat up on their superstar two or whatever, and get his points that way. That'll probably be the best thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely coming off the bench. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, buts about that. He's coming off the bench, and he's going to play the number 2 spot. He's not a ball handler at all. He's proved that a couple of nights in preseason. They gave him the number 1 spot, and he's lost the ball, got his stolen turnovers. So he ended up being number 2 coming off the bench. And like I said, that's for him to get drafted is where he did. And I think that, like I said, that's my biggest bust for the draft this year.
Now, I'm actually going to save this one here for my actual bust this year. This is probably going to ruffle some feathers, but guess what? I'm DJ Notorious. I don't care. This one here, I mean, I knew when he get drafted, I was hoping he didn't go to this team, and obviously the NBA draft gods did not help me. So it's Julius Randle of the Los Angeles Lakers.
You think so, man?
And here's my reason why. I did not think this when he was drafted. Not necessarily. I was like, maybe. But when they actually signed Carlos Boozer, that definitely put me into he's going to be the bust. Because he's not going to get that much playing time, and he has to play with Mr. Selfish himself, Kobe Bryant.
Well, I think Boozer came there to help Randle. I think they brought him down to school him up on playing center. Helping him become a better position player in that spot. And I'm pretty sure as the season progresses, that boy going to put some weight on because he's kind of lightweight.
Yeah, but for some reason, like I'm watching him at Kentucky, don't get me wrong, he's a tenacious rebounder, great defensively, can do some things, a little pick and pop from the post and everything like that, but him actually needed development. He needs to start on day one. And looking at their lineup right now, it's Jeremy Lin. New York fans know already about Jeremy Lin. I'm not even going to speak on him. Bryant, you actually have at small forward Wesley Johnson, which whatever happened to him. Sure, product that just never materialized whatsoever. Boozer at the 4, and then Jordan Hill at the 5. So Randall will probably be one of the first, if not second forward coming off that bench, but development-wise, Boozer takes up a lot of minutes.
A lot of minutes and a lot of space.
Yes, so because he can't play a 5, he's too short and way too thin for that spot. And with Boozer being there, you got to hope for an injury to get some playing time? Like,
that's what I was saying. If he puts on some weight, he could probably get in that 5 spot if needed.
Okay.
If needed. But until that time, he'll be that number 4 man over there and, getting the ball every so often, making people, pull out, and he'll pass it back in. I mean, he has a good shot. I mean, he can shoot, too, so he'll pull guys out when he has the ball. But he won't be number 5 for a while. Let's put another 20, 25 pounds on.
Yeah, definitely not. All right. Now, since we talked pretty much about the rookies, who we think were good, who's not, let's actually move into the teams to watch. Now, a lot of teams made different moves here or there for whatever reason, trying to get closer to the elusive goal, which everybody has, is the NBA title. But what would you say would be your top 5, Chris, of teams to watch, whether it be in the Eastern or the Western Conference?
Well, I'm gonna stick with here in the Western Conference. I did a little bit of homework.
Okay.
I had my man over there on the other side of the screen got me doing homework. I thought I was a little bit too old for that, but I guess not.
You're never too old for homework, man.
I see that. My brother keeps telling me that too. But hey, I think my top 5 out of the West, and I had to make some changes. I see the LA Clippers finally pulling it out this season. They're number 1.
Okay.
San Antonio's will be my number 2. I had a toss-up between OKC and Dallas, but I'm going to stay with OKC. And then my number 3. Dallas is my number 4. And rough number 5, and I changed it. I'm going with the Houston Rockets. I see
Wow.
them making the playoffs, but I don't see them getting past the first round this season. I just don't see it. But LA is solid. Coach is back. Same players are back. New owner. I think they got a point to prove this year that distraction kept them from getting to playing San Antonio in the championship game for the Western Conference. And I think they're gonna put it on some people this year, bro.
Okay. Well, definitely. I think we have a few of those same teams in there. My top 5 is a little bit of the East, a little bit of the West.
Okay.
My number 1 team to watch, and it's a surprise to some people, but I'm actually going with the team that actually changed back to their original name.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm going to say that right now. New York fans, please don't hate me. Don't try to hit me on the street if you see me. The Charlotte Hornets, and it's actually because of the one move that was made during the offseason, and that was actually snagging Lance Stevenson.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was the piece I feel that was missing from Charlotte to actually get over the hump and make it to the second round by losing to Miami. Obviously, Miami's in a whole different area code with them. But having Al Jefferson, who actually is turning into an all-NBA player from his award last season, Kemba Walker is actually showing how to be an NBA player and not be playing in college like he's back at UConn.
Yeah.
And having Lance Stevenson, that bull that doesn't mind going after the star guard or small forward and getting under their skin. Just ask LeBron. So,
I mean, he's like an old Maurice Cheeks, bro.
Oh yeah, yes, Maurice Cheeks definitely.
I'm going back old school with that one. Maurice Cheeks will get underneath your skin, throw you out your game, and then it was his time.
Definitely. I have to go with Charlotte as my number 1, just off of that alone. Number 2, I will go with the Los Angeles Clippers. I feel, as you said earlier, that their time is now.
Yeah.
There's no time like the present for them to actually get over the hump. I actually had this team number 2 in the spot, but I'm actually going to bring them down all the way to 5. I know I'm skipping 3 and 4, but I'm going to bring it down to 5. And that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. As most of the people probably already know, Kevin Durant is out for probably 6 to 8 weeks at the most, as we hear right now, due to that fracture in his leg. I don't trust Russell Westbrook. I just don't. That team it's going to become the Russell show. And that's going to pose a problem for guys like Jeremy Lamb, who is one of my guests for actually being most improved player this year, besides somebody else we'll talk about later.
Okay.
You still had the defense of, Serge Ibaka and Kendrick, I'm too old Perkins. But I think that will hold it together for a while. But Kevin Durant, I mean, let's go with what everybody says on Instagram and Twitter. He's the real MVP.
He earned an MVP, bro. Let me tell you something. That's going to be a hard 30-plus points a game to find. And 2 of their players off the bench.
Yeah, who's actually going to pick up with that? I mean, like I said, Jeremy Lamb. I know he can. Jeremy Lamb can be a 20-point scorer on this team.
Right. You still need an extra 12 to 15 points to make up one Durant.
That's right. So I think actually with this too, you might see a little bit more, and this could be a little bit drastic, but it could actually happen. Don't be too surprised if you see more of Steven Adams playing for Oklahoma City this year.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's gonna have to now that Durant's out. He's gonna have to play at least the first 20, almost 30 games without him.
Yeah, because with that, you can actually have a bigger lineup of, say, Perkins, Ibaka, and Adams to cover over for Durant at times, especially playing like those big lineups against the Spurs, who's my number 3 team.
Okay.
The Spurs, what can you say wrong about the Spurs and Greg Popovich and the rest of them? I don't know what they're doing. I call them the team on Social Security, but for some reason, when it comes around April, they're always a top 3 seed. I don't know how they do it.
Because they got those young guys on the bench, man. They bring those young guys off the bench. They're 5, they're the number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and the 13th guy down there on the bench that can play. Yeah. And they give them minutes. They give them points. They play defense. They hustle. So that's how they do it. If you can give your starters, man, 5-6 minutes rest off the clock, that's at least 20-25 minutes that they sitting down resting, because you can hold the lead that you have, or you can build a big lead with those guys off the bench. And I'm talking about you're bringing your number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and sometimes your number 11 guy off the bench, and you can keep a lead or gain a lead. That's the San Antonio Spurs, man. Your starters rested. They sit down for a whole quarter. They come out at halftime fresh.
Yeah, and that's the thing I noticed about them. I've actually been doing some research with them, looking them up and everything like that, and also using NBA 2K15. I looked at their team last night, and there's some deals in there that a lot of people wouldn't know that'll actually help them out, and it actually kind of hurts your team in Detroit. There's a player that actually was there, Austin Day, a couple of years ago. Now,
Poor Detroit. I won't even talk about them, bro. You don't see their jersey. You don't see nothing hanging back there with Detroit on, D.
Yeah, I actually see that.
Pistons up there, dude.
Yeah.
Only two. I got to get me a Red Wing jersey. I got to hang that up there next. They the only ones winning championships around here, but the Lions might be. If they don't do something this year, they might be going in the trash too.
Yeah, well, definitely with the Sue situation. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that on another time.
That's another show.
But yeah, the San Antonio. I looked at their roster. You said 8, 9, 10. I'm talking
about man 11, number 11, number 12 too.
They are 12 deep. I looked at the whole roster. Like, they could play anybody on this team into a starting lineup if anybody gets injured.
Look at the championship game. Look what they did with Miami. They had their 6 through 11 sitting out. I mean, 6 through 10 playing Miami.
That's right.
And they got the lead and took the lead.
I mean, I got 2 words for you. Patrick Mills.
Hey, there you go.
Where did he come from? So, I mean, that team is just so deep. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it. But my last one, I don't think I said my 4th one, but
right.
This last one here, it's touch and go with them right now. It depends on just one kneecap. If this kneecap goes out again,
oh, that kneecap.
There's gonna be problems at a big sneaker company along with their NBA franchise. Y'all should figure out who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Great signing by having Paul Gasol. Great pickup. That's a nasty front court with him now with Joakim Noah. It's absolutely ridiculous. But it all depends on Derrick Rose.
Yes, it does. I mean, you got to think about it, though. They did great. They did great going to the second round without him last season. If he can stay healthy, I see no reason, none whatsoever, why they shouldn't be in the Eastern Conference Championship, bro. If he can stay healthy.
Definitely. Like, a lot of people know, I have a lot of friends, everything. They say, like, oh, I just don't like the Bulls because I'm a Knicks fan. That just goes way back with Jordan back in the days playing against Ewing back in 93, 94, and all that stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Hey,
it goes back further than that, actually. You got to think about it.
Uh-huh.
They used to have to get past the Knicks to play Detroit.
That's right.
Back in 89, 90, 91. 91, the Bulls finally, got past the Pistons and got to the championship.
Yeah, I do take that into solace, though. A lot of the championship runs by Chicago, the first 3-peat and then the second one, they always had to pass New York to get to that final.
Always. I mean, Chicago had to go through the Knicks. Always. It's just, and I like it back in the day, man. You had your 4 teams, they played, they beat it up. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7 in the championship. This new system, bro, is all about money now. And I think this new system, it wears the players even more, and you give them more injuries at the same time. I think this expanding the playoff season the way they have is tearing up some of these NBA players, especially the older cats.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Longer season, I think. Now, I will say this. I mean, it's probably starting to talk about a little bit, but if you're not hearing it, just remember you're hearing it first. I see a possible lockout coming for the NBA.
You think so?
I see it. If people don't know already, the NBA gave a huge contract to the suit and tie company, otherwise known as ESPN, and TNT Broadcasting to, show their games for the next, I think, 8, 10 years. If I'm
I
not
think it's 10 years total.
Yeah, so that's a whopping a lot of money that's going into the NBA and to the team owners. These players are going to be seeing this money because if not, I smell a lockout.
Yeah, I smell a lockout, especially with that deal actually happened last season.
Yeah, it actually got finalized about 2 weeks ago. Finally, due
And
to
they were, and yeah, if these players don't have better locker rooms and bigger contracts, and yeah, I can see it. I can see another strike coming. It's been a long time since they had one, but I can see another one coming. If these players that they can say the trickle down effect, if these players don't start seeing their money, I can see that happening.
Yeah, because for the price that they actually got that deal for, there is no possible way you can tell me that this money should not be trickling down to some of these players. I mean, ridiculous.
And then the question is, what does the Players Association get?
Oh yeah, though I know there is a new head of the Players Association now. She just started for this upcoming season, but I know from what I hear, she's making sure that they actually get their money. So
We'll discuss that next week's show. We'll do some deep research into that and talk about these numbers with this new contract, what the real deal is, what the numbers are, and what the players actually going to get. What the collective bargaining deal was with this big contract.
exactly.
Because for that to happen, there had to be some collective bargaining with the players and teams and the owners for this to happen. If the owners just did it without any input from the Players Association.
Yeah, I think that's why they're going to have to come back to the bargaining table with this new deal being made and be like, something's got to be done. But yeah, like you said, we'll talk about this another time, next week's show.
Yeah. That's a whole show by itself, I'm sure.
Yes, it is, definitely. But, now we get into the meat part of the show. This is probably what a lot of people wanted to hear about. This is for our predictions for the 2014-2015 season.
All right, now.
Now, we're going to start with the awards first before we get into the division winners and playoffs and who's going to make it to the finals. We'll start with a funny one, actually.
Okay.
The first coach fired during this season will be, who do you think?
Oh, that's scary, bro. I wouldn't say so much fired. I personally didn't foresee any coaches getting fired this season. Because I don't foresee Mark Jackson coming back.
Okay.
So with his new contract with ESPN, so I don't think there's any other coaches out there willing to even that are going to be available to get there. So I really didn't have a pick. I don't foresee anybody getting fired this season. I think all the coaches that they brought in are locks because of the teams and the situations they're in, because of the draft picks they have, the fact that some of these teams are rebuilding, and a lot of the teams. You had some surprise teams last year. You had the Charlotte Hornets. Toronto. I mean, who ever thought they would make playoffs last season?
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna fire that coach if he doesn't make the playoffs. You'll wait till the end of the season to fire him. If he's close, you'll keep him until the end of the season. Well, I see Toronto being a threat, so I really don't see any coaches getting fired at the end of the season. I mean, until the end of the season.
You know what?
Not during the season.
That might be the first time in, I think, a couple of years where, and possibly in your case, as you're saying, that a coach would not actually get fired in the first year. Like, that's, wow. Wow, that's all I can say on that. That's a big shot. But
I just don't see it happening because you got even with these, this team here they call Atlanta Hawks down here. I mean, the coach is ready to go. I mean, he was like, when are you gonna fire me? Where's the pink slip, guys? I'm ready to go. Y'all want me to quit or you want me to fire? He'd rather take the pink slip, bro. At least he get paid. he was waiting. I'm still chuckling about that, bro. That was funny. He was waiting to get fired.
That whole situation with Atlanta, the Danny Ferry, the owner, and
when Danny Ferry, the the things are saying that was on a scouting report.
Mm-hmm.
And my 10,000, well, actually $10 million question is, who wrote the scouting report? Whose name was on that scouting report that passed it on to the Atlanta Hawks that Danny Ferry was foolish enough, is the word I'm going to use because I'm on Google and I don't want to get us censored. Foolish enough to read over a conference call, knowing that it was going to be recorded, to everybody in the organization. Really?
I'll tell you like this. For that person's name still to not have surfaced as this time and Danny Ferry and the owner are made out as the fall guys, it's somebody in that organization.
That's right. Someone in that organization wrote that scouting report. I want to know who that person was, who he or she was that wrote that scouting report, that put those words on paper.
Mm-hmm. I thought they would have learned after the other incident going on today, but
I'm gonna say this: racists and bigots don't learn nothing, bro.
You said it better than me.
I said all I want to say about that. Racists and bigots don't learn anything. They are who they are, and they're gonna be who they are. And at the end of the day, until the day they die, that's who they're gonna be.
And I noticed this with this going on with the Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta, Georgia. Isn't that a pretty mixed bag of different ethnic groups there?
A whole lot of them here, bro. Everybody's just melting pot here in Atlanta. But, you know, you got to realize where you're at. You're south of the Mason-Dixon line. That's a whole different story for a whole different day. But a lot of these states haven't changed, man. And, you know, I think more people are more overt about how they feel about people of different colors and races and everything else. It's gotten worse over the last 6-7 years since somebody's been in the White House. Some people just think they can say what they want to say, how they want to say it, and they don't have any repercussions for what they say and do. Prime example, the LA Clippers' old owner, we will not say his name on this air. He thought because he had a black girlfriend that he can do what he wanted to say and say what he wanted to say about black people, period. You know, but we don't have to go there, bro. I'll get off on the tangent. We won't be talking about basketball anymore.
All right, man. Let's try to bring it back a little bit.
I'm really back in because sometimes I can go off and I'll tell you how I feel. But I've lived down here for the last 16 years, man. I'm telling you something. It's real. It's real. It's more real down south. I tell people all the time. It's more real down here than it ever was with me growing up north. It's just, you know, and like I said, people are raised that way. People are taught to be that way. People can change if they want to change. But some people don't want to change.
Always how it is sometimes. But my first coach fired, because we talked a little bit, to be fired during this season. I mean, you know something? I really could see this happening because this team just seems to be in flux with what's going on.
Okay.
Byron Scott from the Los Angeles Lakers.
You know, he ain't going nowhere, bro. And at the end of the day, Byron Scott ain't going nowhere. I don't care how good or how bad they play. Nah. He's rebuilding, man. That's why I said Byron Scott was my pick until I looked at what LA is doing. They're rebuilding that team, man. I don't even see Kobe playing the whole season. He's either gonna get hurt or he's gonna get hurt. I hate to wish that on the brother, but something gonna happen. He gonna be riding the bench, and they're gonna be in the same situation they were in last year. But they can't, you know. The guys didn't like Del Tony, man.
Oh, don't get started. I'm a New Yorker. We still haven't got over D'Antoni yet.
So, you know, LA ain't the only team. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're not the only team that didn't like him. So, if your players don't like you, they're not going to play for you, man. Yeah, it's just the way it's going to be. Byron Scott, he earned his due as a player for the LA Lakers, and he's going to earn his due as a coach for those guys.
The only thing that I see that actually I picked him to be the first coach actually fired is because of Kobe Bryant and Steve Nash and Jeremy Lin and Jordan Hill and Colin Cowherd and Wesley Johnson and Robert Stackford. Do you want me to go further?
Well, I don't think they're gonna now. Now what I can see with LA happening once the season starts and we get into the season, not that Byron gets fired, that they start making some trades. Get rid of some of that money, salary cap money. Get rid of some of those guys that are paying money. And like I said, they just gave Kobe this big multi-million-dollar, multi-year contract.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, so, you know, he's going to retire. Basically, that was like his retirement paperwork.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Thank us for the championships. Here you go.
Yeah, and, brother, you're going to retire here. So if you retire in the next year or two, we just need you here right now to help us rebuild this team and help these young players like Jeremy Lin develop. Jeremy Lin is not developed, bro. He just happened to have this wonderful season up in New York, your team. And all of a sudden, he got this big head. He goes down to Houston, start making TV commercials. Head get even bigger. Now he's sucking wind. So LA got him. I mean, wait, he ain't developed, bro.
This is the reason why I said that. Another reason why I say Byron Scott will be the first one fired. Nah. Can you tell me their point guard depth on the Los Angeles Lakers right now?
Go ahead. Coach Bryant.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about the Lakers. So the point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center, and sixth man is all Kobe Bryant.
Well, that ain't the coach's fault. That sounds like a general manager problem to me.
Yes, well, you know what? It's not even actually general manager's fault. I wouldn't even put it on Mitch Kupchak. I will put it on the son who is running the day-to-day operations for the team. He is a piece of work.
Well, I mean, yeah, Mr. Buss, you know, what more can you expect from a silver spoon kid, bro?
Everything.
I mean, I honestly think the daughter ought to be running the freaking team.
Someone give this man a hand clap. Thank you very much. Months.
I said that, you know, ever since Daddy got sick, she was the one listening to Daddy. She was the one that with Daddy. She was the one running the daily operations of the team. She's the one that never wanted Phil Jackson to leave.
Her boyfriend.
her lover. Yeah, I mean, she didn't want her lover. He still, bro, trust me, he got his private jet. He going back and forth.
Exactly.
They ain't missing no dates. Believe that. But yeah, she ought to be running the team. But I think the biggest thing was that, bro, some of these owners didn't want to see this woman up in the house talking to them, having to deal with them, having to correct their manners when she was around. I think that's what 99.999, like a DNA test, bro. 99.9999% sure. That's why she's not running that and the owner of that team.
Yeah, because that's why I see that team actually falling for the next 2 or 3 seasons, because with that son of a gun.
You can say that son of a bus. Say son of a bus.
Son of a bus.
Yeah, that's his last name. That's son of a bus. And he is a son of a bus, but he don't know what the bus he doing, bro.
Thank you. Exactly.
I'm with you there, bro. He don't know what the bus he doing.
And for a team like the Lakers, a real storied franchise like it is with the father, you know, God bless Mr. Bus, it's just that it should not be happening. Your point guards are Jeremy Lin and Steve I Can't Run Nash.
Well, like I said, man, if anything happens this season, I think more than anything, there are going to be some trades made once the season starts. Once all these rookies and these draft picks get settled, these guys get into the D-Leagues and get cut off some of these teams, the Lakers are going to make some moves. Steve Nash, the rest of that contract, bro, you can pay him off and send him to somebody else and pay the difference on whatever the difference is, and get him out of there. They got Steve Nash there because Kobe was hurt. The only reason he was there, bro. You know, it's time for him to retire anyway. He might make this his last season to go retire somewhere. But I'm serious. Once the rosters are set with a lot of these teams and these players get dumped into the D-Leagues that, you know, that teams don't keep, I think you're going to see the Lakers make some moves. That's why I said I don't see Byron. I mean, Byron, trust me, he's on my paper. He's on these papers right here. Believe me when I tell you that. He was on that list, and I said no, I don't foresee that happening because of the fact that they are rebuilding, and they're gonna let some players go. LA's gonna let some of those guys go and bring some other guys back up, man, that can actually do something.
Yeah, they definitely need to. All right, let's see. Who do you have for your NBA Rookie of the Year? I know we talked about a few of the rookies earlier. Who do you think will be taking home that trophy?
I'm gonna stick with Wiggins, man.
Okay. I think we actually
Wiggins. I'm gonna stick with him, bro. That's what I'm looking at.
I actually agree with you on that one. I'm actually going with Wiggins just to slightly beat out Parker because I still see the Bucks probably not winning no more than 18 games this year.
Yeah, that's about somebody. That's a good number.
Yeah. So, and I do see Jason Kidd like rebuilding that team, but it's going to take quite a few more years and a few more.
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be another 2 or 3 seasons before Milwaukee Bucks are, back in contention in the Eastern Conference period.
Exactly. Now, the big one. Well, actually, before we get to the big one, Most Improved Player award. Who do you think will that be going to this year?
Oh, that's going to be hard, man. Right now, I mean, it's really hard to say without the season starting and us getting deep into the season.
Right.
I was thinking about that. I said, how can I say who the most improved player would be without the season being started? I'm just thinking. I'm like, there really isn't anybody yet. Because ain't nobody playing in the preseason that you can watch to say what they're going to do when the regular season starts, but the rookies.
That's true.
I was like, we'll have one of our other ones after we get about 5 or 6 games in, and we'll have one of those discussions. I say, okay, now this guy, I can see him. He's done brought his, scoring average up, his assists. He's thinking better. His head's on the swivel now. He can see the court better. He's seeing his players better. We can have that discussion. But right now, the player I might pick might be sitting in the D League or sitting at home on another team.
Well, yeah, definitely, we'll have another conversation about that probably mid-season and before the playoffs.
Let's have that discussion. We can probably do it about, November, December.
Probably after a good month or so. This game.
A good month and, get about 20 games in, we can have that discussion.
All right. Now, this one we could just pick out for whatever. Regular season MVP. Repeating even with his impending injury, or will it be someone else taking over?
Even though Durant's hurt right now, so it's going to hurt him. I actually think LeBron will get the MVP this year. I honestly think he's going to get it. He's going to get it back, especially if Cleveland come mid-season, if they're better than 500 and look like they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, there's no excuse on that team with him and Kevin Love and the players they have now that Cleveland shouldn't have at least, 30-plus wins, man, and sitting in the top of that division before the All-Star break.
Oh, yeah.
And if he pulls that off, he'll be the MVP again next year.
I actually was going between quite a few people. I couldn't make a big one. Just say this one's going to be the MVP. I actually went with LeBron. Actually, I think he's going to get some competition from a player that plays in the same conference, Derrick Rose, if that kneecap can hold up.
Yeah.
But my dark horse, and this is just off of him learning the triangle and how I know the triangle has worked for another superstar years ago, I would have to put Carmelo Anthony into the situation.
You just love the Knicks, don't you, bro?
No, it's not in the sense of loving the Knicks. I would just have to go with, I'm looking at for last season. Even with all the issues that happened with the Knicks, Melo was still the number 2 scorer in the league.
He was, but you know what? He would have been a darn MVP last year if he wasn't so lazy.
If you
Carmelo's lazy. Carmelo's lazy. That's why he didn't make MVP. That's why it wasn't Carmelo, LeBron, and Durant. That's why it was just LeBron and Durant. Carmelo played lazy, bro.
No, actually, in the beginning of the year, like the first 20, 25 games, Melo was in the, mention in that. But
That's right. I'm just saying, toward the end, Carmelo got lazy, man. It's like he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to play, and that started to show. And I was like, you know what, bro? You don't want an MVP. You play hard to the end of the season if you want to get that big paycheck and the trophy.
Well, see, the reason why I'm saying now this year is because, one, he's got his contract. Okay, we don't have to worry about that issue no more of is he going to leave? Is he going to go? Which way did he go? All that other stuff. We got that out the way. He asked for help. We got him some help. We started in the front office with Phil. We started on the sideline with Eric Fisher. And now we're actually getting him some more players. Now, the rest of the team, he did get the help he needed. He has a point guard that's actually competent, has a heartbeat, and knows how to pass the ball. And that's I'm so a fan of the triangle. You would think I am a Laker fan because I love
the triangle. The triangle offense works great, man. And he proved it at Chicago. Six championships there. And if Michael Jordan wouldn't have retired for those 2 seasons, it would have been 8 in a row. I don't care what nobody says. If he wouldn't have took them 2 seasons off because he wanted to have a break in the sabbatical, play baseball, his dream of baseball, and believe it or not, he was a damn good baseball player. But they weren't giving their brother his credit down there because they wanted him to come back to the NBA, and they didn't want him to play in the National Baseball League. They didn't want him there.
That's right.
He was batting almost 300 while he was down there. Once he could hit a curveball, he was doing great. But they wanted him back in the NBA because you know what? Michael Jordan made the NBA what the NBA is today. Because without Michael Jordan, I don't know where the NBA would be today. They brought that man back, and believe me, Michael Jordan is reaping every reward he can with them nagging him back out of the baseball league and bringing him back to basketball, bro.
He's turned himself into a good executive, actually, with Charlotte. A very good executive.
Exactly. He ain't missing no meals, bro. Michael Jordan is not in that position there because, let's say this, if he would have stayed in baseball, he'd been in somebody else's office in the National Baseball League and not the NBA. Because that's how good of a player he is. And a man, I mean, got a good headline show.
Yeah, he actually, because when he first got to Charlotte, certain moves that were just not made were not good. But it seems like now he's got his feet wet and starting to mold in that team into a serious contender over there.
Well, you can't be a player / coach / I want to be the general manager, player rep. You can't wear all those hats at the same time, bro.
Yeah, you gotta be
with one team. You can't do that. But yeah, now that he's there, he's and he knows the system better now as an executive.
Yes.
And when you're down there on the court, you ain't up in the front office like you need to be. You can't learn how things go and how things roll. Now he knows that, and he's gonna play definitely a better role over there now.
Definitely. So now with that, the big one is your top 8 playoff teams for the East and the West. How do you see the conference finals breaking down, and who do you see in the finals, and who do you see holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy?
Oh man, top 8. Well, I'm gonna stay in. Like I said, I'm always been a Eastern Conference guy, man. As a kid growing up, Pistons, Bulls, Knicks. You give it to me. But let me tell you something. These Western Conference boys have showed that they can stand the test of time, and they got better records than some of these East Coast teams, bro. When it comes playoff time, because who had home court advantage? San Antonio Spurs. West Coast, my top 5 are still my top 5. Now I want to add 3 to that list. I'm gonna give you a couple. On the West Coast, like I said, I got my top 5 teams. They aren't going to change. I'll read them down to you again. I got the LA Clippers.
All right.
San Antonio Spurs. OKC.
Okay.
Dallas. Houston Rockets. I see the Toronto Raptors playing a lot better this season. Cleveland's going to make the playoffs. They might be maybe a 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Miami, And then we sitting at home watching TV with everybody else. And I'm just trying to think. I believe Chicago's going to be there, Eastern Conference wise. And it's probably number 2 seed. I don't know who the number 1 seed is going to be in the East. It's too much of a throw up, and it's going to be a big thing between Chicago. I think the biggest thing is going to be Chicago and Cavaliers this season on who has the number 1 and number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, number 1 and number 2 seeds in the Western Conference. I see number 1 being Clippers this season, and Dallas pulling it off being a number 2 seed.
The Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, my number 2 seed in the Western Conference this year.
Over San Antonio.
Yeah. Remember, where was San Antonio at this past season? Where were they?
Very true.
What they end up doing in the end is the question.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, they had a low, and trust me, having that low seed helped them old guys.
Yeah, it did.
They need to beat a weak team, bro, so they can sit at home and rest and get those injuries and let them boys. They have a 10-day rest at home, man.
Yeah.
You know, so them resting like that helped them. I mean, if I had a chance to be a number 1 seed, a number 2 seed, I would rather be a 4 or 5 any day, knowing I'm a better team than any of those other teams I want to play, and sweep a team and sit home for 10 days while everybody else plays 6 and 7 games. And that's exactly what San Antonio Spurs did last season. That's why they spanked everybody. Miami had to go 6 games. They sitting at home almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks waiting to play. I thought they might be rusty. Well, they were. They lost 1 game. You know, they lost 1. I figured they might go 6, but I never thought they'd beat them in 5.
Yeah, nobody did.
I'm glad they bet in the book. I would have lost all my money because I thought if nothing else they would have won 6 games. But never 5. Never 5. But that's my top 8. Now, who's going to win this season?
Yeah, who do you have in the NBA Finals this year?
And I say if, and only if, the Cavaliers get past Chicago Bulls, the Cavaliers are in. If they don't, I think that the LA Clippers may pull it off in the West and win. I think they'll have it. I don't, and it's. I see the Warriors making the playoffs, but I don't see them getting past the first round this season. I don't think the cohesion is there with the team this season. The coaching's changed. Everything's going to change for those guys, and they're going to be in disarray for a while. But if LeBron and Cleveland and Kevin Love and the boys could pull it out and get themselves together and do what they need to do, I can see the Cleveland Cavaliers at least getting to the championship. I don't see them winning it, but I definitely see them getting there.
Okay. Right. Well, I think mine's a little bit the same as yours, maybe a few changes here or there. But for the Western Conference, I'll start it off since that's your favorite side.
I love them guys over there now, man.
Yeah, number 1, I'm actually going to put. Are you ready for this? Brace yourself. Okay. Not so much of a crazy thing as the Dallas Mavericks at number 2, but number 1, the LA Clippers.
Okay.
I just don't see anybody that can go for them throughout the season that can actually go toe-to-toe with them and take that number 1 spot away from them.
Like I said earlier to you the only reason I feel those guys did not get to the championship game is because of that major distraction they had come playoff time. That took a lot out of those guys, man. I don't care what nobody says. It took a lot out of the fans. It took a lot out of the people that weren't even involved. It took a lot out of me as a man. So I can't even imagine what those players went through, man, having to deal with all of that and all the news coverage and everything else they were going through. But back to you. That's why I think the LA Clippers, they could have been there this past year. I'm almost certain they're going to be there this year.
Well, I mean, definitely with them number 1, I don't see it. There's too big of a lineup. Chris Paul is probably going to have another 13, 14 assist year again. Too big. Number 2, I'm actually going to say the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
When you're 12 deep Okay, that's a gang where I'm from.
Well, the only reason I don't get them number 2, man, I think they're gonna do that same little little okey doke they did this past season, man.
They just
I think they're gonna lose just enough games so they can be the 4 or 5 seed, man,
and just
and
sneak on.
smack somebody again, man. Popovich is not stupid, man. That guy is very, very intelligent. And you
Yes.
got to think about it, man. How you lose 5 of your last 7 games to scrub?
He rescued all his players. That's why he didn't care.
Say that again. What did he do? He rested his players, bruh. He didn't. He knew he was already in the playoffs, and his thing was, I do not want to be the number 1 or number 2 seed. And he wasn't. He sat at home and rested, sat at home and rested, and then went home in 5 games.
One of those things. Number 3, though, actually, it's a surprise.
Okay.
I would actually go with the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. Well, not surprised. We both got him on the list.
The surprise is that high.
I got him
why I
on
have,
4.
the reason why I have him that high is just because of the strength of other teams I see are not going to be really doing as well this year. So if some teams go down, somebody has to go up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely do that. But I will let this be known right now, so I'm going to look straight into the camera here. This will have no effect of Raymond Felton playing this season. It's due to Dirk Nowitzki, Chandler Parsons, and maybe Tyson Chandler. But it has nothing to do with Raymond I Like Guns Felton. Let me know right now. That's a public service announcement brought to you by DJ Notorious.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, Felton, he'll give him his 10, 12 points a game. He'll be all right.
He'd be lucky if he gets 6. I think he's washed up at this point. To be honest with you, I think he's washed up.
I think he'll come out. If he doesn't start, he'll come off the bench. If he comes off the bench, I think they're only gonna give him a 6 or 8 a night.
Yeah.
But if they get him in the starting position, I think he'll get 10 to 12 a night. That'd be about it.
12 9, yeah. That could be work. That could work into it. Number 4. And this team, I know they're going to make the playoffs, like in the number 4 seed, but they're going to probably get dumped in the first round.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got Houston there. They're my number 5 pick, so we still in the same.
Okay.
We just got to flip flop a little bit, but we still good.
Yeah, the reason why Houston at that spot is because Dwight Howard, man, he's just not there. Like, he could be the most dominant force in basketball today, but it just doesn't seem like he wants it that much.
He needs to spend more time with Olajuwon. I mean, he's down to camp with Olajuwon, so he's learned. I mean, you got to look at how he was with Orlando, and then when he came to Houston last season, how he's playing there. I mean, he's a different ball player. His footwork is better. He's shooting better. He's boxing out better. He's doing things a lot better here in Houston. I think the more he hangs out down there with Olajuwon at his camp, he's gonna improve. Staying healthy is another thing. He has to stay healthy and keep improving.
That's very true. Hopefully he'll be able to do that because now they have to make up those points from Chandler Parsons. I don't think Trevor Ariza, who signed over there with them, is actually going to help. Don't see it.
Yeah.
Call the 14, but it's not going to have the same impact as Chandler Parsons.
Right.
Definitely got to go with that. Number 5, I mean, this is probably where the shock is going to start. I'm actually going with the Portland Trailblazers.
I thought about that. And I didn't put them on my list. But you are right. After they got their butt kicked this past playoff season, they did make the playoffs.
Yes.
They should improve. With them young cats, for them to make the playoffs and play as hard as they did and scrape like they did, I can foresee that. It's not a shock. It's not a big shock to me, but it might be other people viewing, but not so much to me. I can see those guys getting back to the playoffs again. Not 6, 7 seed maybe like you got them picked, but definitely maybe make it to the second round this season.
Well, then my number 6 is probably where the shock is going to happen.
Okay.
You know, if I mention number 1 was the Clippers, 2 was the Spurs, 3 was Dallas, 4 was Houston, and 5 was Portland. That means somebody's missing from that top 3 spot.
Yeah, it's probably the same team I didn't put on my list.
Number 6, I have OKC.
Well, yeah, I mean with Durant's injury, bruh, with that injury, with him being out, you got to realize something. He's gonna be out for 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, not playing, not doing anything but rehab, okay? Because he can't put that weight on it, can't be jumping up and down, bouncing on that leg. So you're talking about at least another 2 to 3 weeks, or at least 10 games before he gets back in the mix, where he feels comfortable on that leg that he can, start doing what he needs to do on it. So it's gonna be, yeah.
And I don't know, the reason why I put them down back too is because, we do lose Durant for, I guess, the really start of the season. But I'm sorry, I'm pretty much like other analysts that are out there. I do not trust Russell Westbrook. I don't trust him with the keys to the Ferrari. I just don't.
Well, they gave him the keys to the Ferrari last season. You saw what he did with it, right? Ran into a tree. I'm sorry, bro. I called it like I see it. I got the keys to the Ferrari, ran into a tree, and then they had to go home, sit down.
Yeah, I don't trust him by himself. I mean, if he proves me wrong, albeit Russell, glad for you. But we know who the real MVP was last year.
Exactly.
He had that award. So with that and how the rest of the team is going to be shaped up, having to get used to now just Russell chucking up shots, because he puts up about 25 to 30 a night. So
easy.
Right there, he doesn't have to pass off. It's going to get worse.
Well, he's going to have to pass off. The question is, who is he going to pass off to?
Yeah.
As long as he's penetrating, if he has a shot, he'll take it. It's his jump shot that kills him. When he penetrates, he draws people to him. The fact that his jump shot is his downfall. To me, watching his games, when he starts trying to shoot threes and 20-footers and 19, and like, bro, why are you shooting out there? Penetrate, draw people to you, kick the ball back out, and that's what he does so well when Durant's in the game. He penetrates, kicks it out. Penetrates, kicks it out. But when he just shoots, okay. We were watching championship at home, guys.
His first mentality is just to shoot first, ask questions later.
Right, and that's his downfall. That's why I said when he penetrates and he can draw people to him, he can either go and shoot or he can kick it out. Mm-hmm. Just shooting. Oh, jeez, somebody help that man.
Yeah, so I think that's why I got them at 6. Now, number 7 and number 8, that could easily be a toss-up. Either one of these teams can be the 7, either one of these teams could be the 8. Golden State and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, I can see where you got that.
Yeah, it's basically if Golden State does not mesh well with Steve Kerr, they'll probably be the 8, and Minnesota will be the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a flip-flop there for sure. It all depends, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All depends. I do see Ricky Rubio of Minnesota, since he's in a contract year, really showing that he wants to play more and get that big bucks. Exactly. So I put them probably at number 7 and Golden State at number 8, looking at it now. And I would not be surprised at the end of the season, we're talking about both Klay Thompson and Steph Curry leaving Golden State in some form of a trade.
No, isn't Steph Curry up for contract this year?
I think he is, but not.
You got to remember he didn't sign a long big deal when he came out of college.
Yeah, the rookie deal still. So
yeah, he's still on his rookie deal. So yeah, I think his contract is up this season. I think he's going to leave not because of trade. He's going to leave because of contract.
Yeah,
he was not happy about Mark Jackson leaving, bro. He was the first one to tell you. He said, I can't talk about it right now. The season's still going on, but catch me when the season's over. I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah, that was one of the dumbest moves they made. Mark Jackson was a great fit for them, but, sometimes the owners don't like people for certain reasons, which has nothing to do with basketball. So
I tell people, some teams are like the Detroit Lions. Sometimes you got to find new ownership. Because some owners don't want to win championships.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better.
You know, so since I tell people since the four families had the team, they haven't won nothing.
But they are getting better, though. We'll be speaking about that by the time the season is over. They are getting better, though.
Bruh. Only thing that make Detroit Lions better for me right now, when they win the championship. And I don't see that happening until that team gets bought out by somebody else other than Ford ownership.
Well, the only reason why I say they have to do it this year because Ndamukong Suh is going to bolt. He's going to leave, and he wants to come to New York. So, I
think his. I don't care what team he goes to, unless his attitude changes, don't matter. He's going to have to change that attitude he has and that temperament that he gets sometimes when players are getting the best of him. You got to get rid of that boy. That right there that's that boy mentality when you should be acting like a man.
That is true.
You're not playing Pee Wee League no more when a little kid ran over you and stepped on you with his cleat by accident. You in the pros now. You got to set an example for the little ones, man. And these last 3 seasons, man, suspensions and penalties and everything, all this money. I'm glad it goes to charity. I mean, that's the only good side I see to all his antics sometimes, man. That money he gets goes to charity.
Yeah.
For the fines he gets.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it that I have for the 8 on the west side. But now we're going to come back.
Yeah, see, you want to do East and West. See, I ain't got time to play around the East Conference.
Now, I know I got my 8 here, but just to know
you got 8 teams really. Well, I guess you're right. 8 teams got to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. You're right.
I mean, there's one team, of course, everybody knows number 1 team I have on my list is Cleveland.
Okay.
They're big 3, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and LeBron. I mean, who's really stopping them from probably getting 57 to 62 wins this year? Let's be honest.
Honestly, I think it's, like I said, Chicago can keep the. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to keep from getting their 60 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to make 60. I think they'll get about 54. I don't see them making 60 wins. But they gotta go through Chicago, man. They gotta go. You know, you got some of these teams, man, in the Eastern Conference. They're gonna sneak up on them boys and surprise them at night. And Miami got a grudge. They're gonna win. I'm not gonna say. I think they're gonna split the series when they play Miami. I think Chicago's gonna get the better of them in that season. I honestly do. And just those 5 losses alone, we can add up some more along the way. I don't see them doing 60 wins. Not Cleveland, not this season. Ain't happening.
Well, number 2 I do have there is Chicago. Number 3, actually, well, number 3 and 4 can be either or. That's the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Before about the new acquisition for Charlotte, Lance Stevenson.
Yeah.
I definitely can see that happening. Probably more towards Charlotte being number 3 now, with the Wizards losing Bradley Beal for the first 8 weeks of the season for that broken hand.
Yeah, hurt himself. Yeah.
So, I mean, he needs to stop playing that Microsoft Xbox One and get to the court. You want to break that hand again.
No, he needs to stop thinking he's on Xbox One, bro. He wouldn't have broke the hand in the first place trying to try some new move that he saw in the game that he thought he could play in the real game.
Number 5 and number 6 can also be a switch as how their seasons go. That's Miami and New York.
You just love your Knicks, don't you?
No, honestly, this is not like if I was really a homer for my New York Knicks, I would put them number 1. But that would be deaf, dumb, and stupid. Like that would just be absolutely ridiculous. They ain't gonna go to no number 1. We just gonna keep it real. Absolutely.
Let me tell you something. We'll know by mid-January what the Knicks gonna be, bro. They either gonna be at home watching TV like you and I, or they're gonna be making a run for the playoffs.
They're gonna be making a run for the playoffs.
All right, hey, you got all the you notice that the Detroit Pistons probably only came out of my mouth twice in this whole show, and this was the second time they came out of my mouth.
Yeah, 'cause they suck.
Hey, I agree with you 2,000% on that one too.
They do. I mean,
You
yes,
can't
they
all
got.
your good players. You can't have a championship team, man, and not want to pay the guys, and then you get rid of Dumar.
Well, I mean, the reason why they should have got rid of Dumars years ago, I got two words for you. Darko Milicic.
Bruh,
I rest my case.
he need to keep boxing. How you gonna bring this 18-year-old kid, man, from over in where was it, the Ukraine, Slovakia? Where was he from?
Serbia, one of those. I don't remember.
We'll just say from Russia.
Right.
We'll just call the Asian countries over there in the Baltics. You'll bring this 18-year-old kid, man, here without bringing his family? Really? How can you not get this boy's family over here with him so he has some support? That boy was never going to be a ball player, bro, without his family being here with him.
And the thing that I don't understand about it, that whole draft, you take Darko Milicic over Carmelo Anthony?
Well, you know, it was already written in stone where Carmelo was going. I mean, I honestly feel that Carmelo had already signed that contract before the draft, bro.
I mean, like, it's just up there. Like, for draft purposes, you would actually take Darko Milicic over what was left still in that draft?
Well, you got to realize.
But it must have been powerful.
Darko, for his size, man, at 17, you got to remember, they were watching Darko since he was 16 years old, bro. That wasn't just a grab Detroit pulled out of the hat. Detroit had been watching that young kid since he was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm. And
they saw potential in him. But like I said, his downfall, man, was that they did not bring that boy's family over here. You can't promise a little kid, hey man, we'll get your family over here. We'll get your family over here. We'll get your family over here. You can't get them. You can't get them visas over here to live with you. You can't do that, man. That's like taking you at 18 years old, ripping you from your family, man, and taking you all the other side of the world.
Yeah.
That kid, his mind wasn't right, man. But anyway, Darko's going to kickboxing or UFC, whatever he's doing. More power to him, brother.
Hey, do your thing, right?
I think he boxed a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure how it turned out. We can talk about that on the next show.
All right.
I'll tell you about his how that turned out.
All right. Well, I mean, number 5 and 6, like I said, I had the Heat and the Knicks, either or. Now, the reason I would say the Heat, because, you know, they did actually make a move. They do have Lil Dang now. They do have Josh Roberts, you know, formerly the Hornets. Then the Bobcats, you know what I mean. That's a good exclamation to try to make up some of LeBron's points. I don't think they're going to be that far off, but we are saying they are losing LeBron James. It's not just a regular show.
Oh, no, that's what I mean. I didn't even have Miami in the playoff, bro.
Oh, wow.
Miami wasn't on my list.
I still have them there. I mean, they still do it, but it's nowhere near what they've been doing for the past 4 years.
Bruh. Okay, you number 8 seed. You playing number 1 seed, which probably Cleveland and Miami playing. You going home?
Yeah.
You going back to South Beach, on the beach, watching the play. If you decide to watch the playoff, you can be watching it from the beach.
Literally.
I honestly, man, you have to ask yourself, man. Without LeBron there last year. Honestly, where would Miami have been?
Yeah, because honestly, that was 1 year where LeBron carried that team the whole season.
Right, LeBron was tired. LeBron was tired, man. He actually had this, you know, you playing 38, 40-plus minutes a game. You're going to overtime playing teams, man. Bruh, he was tired. LeBron was tired. You got to remember, Wade set out 20, 25 games.
That's right.
He came back on first legs, but LeBron was tired.
Yeah.
He's trying to score. His first priority was trying to make MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he got to trying to score 45, 50 points a game. So
it was unfortunate, but I do see them making it, but it's not going to be the same as everybody cheering for Miami like they used to. It's not going to be like that.
So I didn't hear you say Indiana yet. So you honestly think that Miami's going to, even with George being out, don't get me wrong, he didn't do nothing in the playoffs, so, you know, it's like he wasn't there anyway. But even with George being out, you putting Miami over Indiana?
Yeah.
Really?
I got another team ahead of them, too. How about that?
Let me tell you something.
You're not ready for this one. You're not ready for number 7 and number 8. You're not ready.
I'm listening now, because you didn't say Indiana yet, so I got problems.
Number 7, I actually have the Toronto Raptors.
Well, yeah, like I said, bro, I see Toronto in the playoffs. I don't. I honestly see those boys back in the playoffs. And like I said, I agree with you too with the Portland Trail Blazers. You're right. I completely forgot about them boys and how hard they played in the playoffs. Toronto definitely Toronto. But if you don't say Indiana next, we gonna be having a long discussion.
Now, number 8, as I got it written down here, you'll see my notes right here. I just wrote them down. That right there. You see it? There it is. Number 8 is a tie. This could be either one of these two teams.
Okay.
Either the Atlanta Hawks.
You didn't say Atlanta Hawks, bro. You need to step off this chair.
The Atlanta Hawks or the Indiana Pacers.
Man, come on.
Look,
I mean, I'm so far from the Eastern Conference now, man.
I'm gonna explain to you why. Here's why I said that.
You gotta explain this one to me, because
I think it's gonna be Atlanta more than Indiana, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Paul George, gone. Injury we did not see happening. It's unfortunate. All right. However, before then, you gave away Lance Stevenson for nothing. You let him walk. Besides those two not being there for a full season, with Paul George being out, I got one question. Who's going to score for that team?
You got to ask yourself who was really scoring in the playoffs. Why? I mean, I understand George got hurt, but why did they let Stevens go?
Well, I know the reason why they let go Lance Stevenson. They didn't really like his antics or whatever, but that's how they used to play back in the old school in the 90s. We both know that.
Well, them 90 days is gone, bro.
Hey, oh, well, yeah, I know it's gone now because if you literally just rub a feather on a player, they're calling a foul. So I
don't like this new NBA either.
But what I'm saying is, though, is like we already know if you watch any basketball of any kind and watch the Indiana Pacers, you know that they need improvement when it comes to scoring. They're just not all the way there.
Correct.
They barely can score 90 points a game on a given night.
Any given night.
Right. So now if you lose your top scorer, which is Paul George, albeit to injury, and then you lose your third leading scorer in Lance Stevenson, who's going to score for you?
Right. I should have pulled up their stats. But you had to ask yourself, between those two players, how many points are you truly missing?
Well, Paul George had 22 a game, and Lance Stevenson was about 17, 18 a game. So right there, you're losing about 38 to 40 points a game.
But the only person you really lost, Paul George may get back, but it probably won't be until after the All-Star break if he makes it back.
Oh, no. He ain't coming back.
Oh, so he's out for the whole season?
He ain't coming back.
Oh, really?
A la Willis Reed back in the 70s if he wants to come back, and that ain't happening.
Well, technology and science and medical fields a lot better now than it was back in the 70s, bro. They put all kinds of wires and bones and metal pieces all up in you now to put you back together. They didn't have that back then.
I'm going to say this right now, looking right at my screen again. Read my lips. Read my lips. Paul George ain't playing this season. And there's going to be no need for him to rush because the Pacers ain't making the playoffs.
If he healed, he had what? He broke it with 3 places?
Yeah. Ain't happening.
He'll be healed up by December. Because that happened in August, right? End of July, first part of August, he broke it.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure 16 weeks, rehab. I guess if they have a run for the playoffs, I can see him practicing. Start practicing after the All-Star break. If they have a run for the playoffs, he may come back, but coming off the bench.
they just don't have anybody. Like, he's now, honestly, if that doesn't heal correctly where he can get his same explosiveness or whatever, he's going to become the new school Danny Granger. Because that's the same thing that happened to Danny Granger.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you know, it all depends. I mean, we'll have to see, bro. I'm gonna say if he comes back and starts practicing after the All-Star break, which he should. I mean, he should be able to practice. I'm not saying playing. You mean being on the court, practicing, trying to get the stamina back, and seeing what he can and can't do. They're gonna figure that out before the end of the season. Because if he's not coming back, they gotta free up that money. He'll be gone. They'll just they'll get rid of him.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you signed Rodney Stuckey to basically replace Lance Stevenson. And I know you know Rodney Stuckey very well.
Stuckey can play, bro. Stuckey can play. Stuckey can dunk on folks, too. Stucky Ducky. I call him Stucky Ducky. That boy was slick and smooth when he wanted to be.
Let's go. Let's be serious here. Look at that lineup right now for the Indiana Pacers. I ain't almost even bet they could get to 85 points a game on a given night.
Well, Stuckey can score, man.
Can't play.
With Detroit wasn't the team. You got to see. I remember Stuckey. You got to remember Stuckey was there back when they were running their championship runs. He was on the bench. They would bring him off the bench to fill a spot. He would score his 10 to 12 points. He just needed to be with a team that he could play. And his problem is, and the reason he didn't get all the playing time, turnovers. He can play defense. That's why Joe Dumars didn't get players that couldn't play defense. Detroit won all their championships they've ever run because of defense.
That's true.
He can play defense. That's why I say you can teach a guy how to play offense. Stuckey can shoot. He can play defense. He just can't handle that ball. He doesn't take good care of the ball. And that's his problem. But he can score, man. You give him the right team with the right flow and the right offense, he'll get 10 to 14 a night for you.
This is not the same Rodney Stuckey. He's been in the league for quite a few years. The elevator don't go all the way to the top, meaning
like it's all the way to the top. No, I didn't say that. I told you, he stopped. I mean, Penthouse 18th. He stopped at the 16th.
He's just I'm just seeing because Indiana's had a hard time scoring for quite a few years. That's the reason why they didn't beat Miami a few years back when they played in the playoffs.
That's why they didn't make it further last season because they couldn't score. I mean, Miami just beat them up, bro. Let's keep it real. Miami just beat them up. Miami beat them up 2 years ago. They're like, I tell people, it's like Detroit. They're like Detroit. Imagine Detroit and Chicago, 88, 89, and 90. Okay? I don't care what Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls did. They weren't getting past the Detroit Pistons because the Detroit Pistons beat them up. Physically beat people up. And if you watch Indiana playing Miami in the playoffs for the conference championships, Miami beat them up physically. They physically putting those guys on the boards, hard fouling them, knocking them on the floor, bringing the 9 and 10 guy off the bench to come in and foul people and knock people out, get flagrant fouls. Watch it, bro. That's why George got booted.
Yeah, definitely on the
man off the bench. No, hey, what's his name? Get him. Yeah, go in there and foul him, get a flagrant foul, put him out for the rest of the game.
But that's what I'm saying with the Pacers. If they got more scoring, I definitely would have said there was a playoff team because you can't count on Paul George coming back. Lance Stevenson is now, in North Carolina doing his thing with Charlotte Hornets. They just don't have no scoring punch.
Well, you gotta think about it too. I mean, they were number one seed last season, but they sure didn't play like when the playoffs came.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You lost two of your biggest offensive weapons on that team. You can't put it all on David West, so.
No, and like I said, their coach got the big contract. Vogel got that big contract, so he'll be there for a little while. So he won't be getting fired. See, if I had with George going down with this injury, if there had to be one coach that got fired first this season,
Hmm.
and they didn't do well, it would be Vogel for the Pacers.
Okay, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see
You
that.
see, even with that new contract, if they don't make the playoffs, bro, new contract and all it won't matter. And they might say, well, George is out, and this, that, and the other. But you got to play with the players you got, bro.
Hmm.
You got to actually, you in the marriage now. We got to go with what you got. He's been out, and it's not like it happened in the middle of the season and you lost him. You know he's been gone for the last 14 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go, bro. Ain't no excuse for Indiana Pacers, bro. If any coach gets fired, it would be Vogel this year.
Okay.
If the Indiana Pacers don't make the playoffs, regardless of his new contract.
He will be the first one. Okay.
Yeah.
Fans.
And I say he probably won't get fired during the season, like I said, but he might be the first coach to get fired after the season.
After the season, right?
Well,
right.
I can't say that. If they don't make the playoffs, he'll be fired. He'll be fired at the end of the regular season. Let's say that. But
Pretty much he should be on.
He got another job. He got another year at least.
All right. Well, for the Eastern Conference Finals, I actually have Cleveland versus Chicago in the Eastern Conference Finals.
We got that.
And on the West, I have the Western Conference Finals being the Clippers versus San Antonio.
Yeah. See, hey, we in agreement. And the funny thing is, you and I didn't even have a conversation before we started. We was talking football before this.
Exactly, we were. We actually
so here we are with the same 4 teams in the champ. So who do you have as your win the championship?
Honestly, I see it as, even though he's on a new team, it's going to be the same result. I actually see either the Clippers or the Spurs winning the NBA title.
See, we're there too.
Going to win. Not to say it's going to be a short series. Cleveland will give them a hard way to go. But I think it's just going to be that first year of getting to know each other. And, yeah. If it's the Spurs, I see the Spurs probably in 5 again. Just because they're 12 deep. I told you, they're a gang.
I'm in complete agreement with you, man. The San Antonio Spurs, like I said, man, I've watched them over all these years, man. San Antonio, they got a starting 5 plus a bench.
Yeah. So, and then if the Clippers, just looking at the teams, how they match up, who's stopping DeAndre Jordan? Who's stopping Blake Griffin? Chris Paul and Kyrie Irving, okay, push.
The only thing, if you bump Chris Paul too hard, he tries to whine like a little baby. In the old NBA, he wouldn't last it.
Don't talk about CP3 like that.
Yeah, I love CP3, but I love him to death. I love me some Chris Paul, man. Let me tell you something. I do. I really do. But he got to stop whining. We ain't no cheese and crackers out there on the basketball court, so stop whining.
Well, he has his goons there, Matt Barnes, who's, honestly, if he was in the NHL, he would be a goon for real. But Matt Barnes...
You know what, bro? He play hard basketball, man. I like players that play hard basketball.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I wish he would have came to New York when he had the chance, but him joining up with the Clippers, I mean, he's a goon. Don't dare think about fouling, Blake Griffin or, Chris Paul hard. You have to deal with Matt Barnes.
Well, you got to think, even Matt Barnes got thrown out in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, but he don't care. He's a goon.
Yeah, right. Hey, you know what? I'm protecting my players, bro. I don't care. They ain't going to miss my 6 points a game, but they'll miss your 22.
Thank you. There we go. But, yeah, that's pretty much how I got it. I mean, I think right now it's the Clippers' time. Just hopefully they don't have to run into that behemoth gang known as the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, they're going to meet they play the Spurs, 4 times this year?
Yeah, they play them 4 times. I see it being a split, 2-2.
Yeah, and that'll be a good give us a good measure, because they'll play early and then they'll play late. So we'll have a good measure here before the All-Star break, with all our teams. But the first 2 games these guys play this season, the Clippers and San Antonio, we'll see where they're at, bro. Because San Antonio really hadn't changed anybody. They're rock solid. They didn't have any trades or nothing going on. They just signed new contracts, and boy said I'm gonna stay another year. See if we can make it again. I'm gonna retire. I'm done after this one.
Yeah. So I
think this is gonna be his last season.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. That is the show for today. I'd like to thank everybody for joining in. If you have any questions, by all means, this is the time now to put them in. If you have any questions for myself, DJ Notorious, or Chris B. As we said before, this was brought to you by the Notorious Report, Malika Magazine, which you can find on malikamagazine.com. Actually get all your news and views on sports, entertainment, and anything else. And also Malika Publishing. So for that, I'd like to thank Chris B over there in A-Town, Atlanta, for joining in with me. Thank you very much.
And DJ Notorious, I appreciate it, bro. Great conversation today.
Yeah, man, we hit on all the topics here. So if anything, you can find Malika Magazine, of course, on malikamagazine.com, and also the Notorious Report on there as well. And if you'd like to chat with me, by all means, find me on Facebook or Instagram, DJ Notorious 2K7. With that, we'll be back in the next couple of weeks with more talk on the NBA and the NFL as their season approaches the ending of it. Because it's already week 8, I think it is. Week 8?
Well, yeah. I think it is week 8.
It's a long time. It just started, but now it's already halfway done. You know, Thanksgiving Day.
Halfway done, bro. Yeah. Well, you know, they go 17 because everybody gets a bye week now. So, next, I guess you can call this midweek. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking for a Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see what they do here. It's always fun watching those games. So.
Yeah, I just want to see. I don't know. Dallas is playing. Who is Dallas? We'll get the schedule out. We'll have them teams for us. I didn't even look at the NFL season and who's playing Thanksgiving Day, but I know Detroit be on TV.
Yes, they will, and I think actually they play Dallas.
Do they this year finally again?
They play Dallas, so I definitely want Dallas to lose because I'm a Giants fan. But
as long as Romo, I tell people, as long as Romo the quarterback, bro, you got to guaranteed lose. They
needs to happen. That's it.
I'm saying anyway, we'll talk football of the day.
All right, man, and thank you once again for joining in with me. Thank you guys for joining us here at the NBA season preview show. We'll check you next time.
Take care, guys.
All right now.